Nation, thank you so much for watching. Look, you guys and gals keep asking, what can a pharmacist do in clinical research? And we're lucky enough to have Dr. Sandy Siwoon Kim. She's a PharmD. She works in clinical research. She's in pharmacovigilance. There's a lot that we can learn from her in her role at a biotech for the past almost 3 years now. But we're also going to talk about just pharmacists in general and the career path, and also you, Sandy, what you want to accomplish still in your young career. So thank you so much for coming on.
Hi, everybody. Thank you for having me today, Dan.
Of
I
course,
feel special because I always listen to your podcast, and now I'm here today.
well, thank you. We're special because we get to listen to you, and it's not that often we get a pharmacist on that
Mm.
works, especially in pharmacovigilance and for a biotech. But maybe let's start at the beginning. How did you get started in clinical research?
Okay, so I'm a California pharmacist. I've been working in long-term care, some psychiatry, some community experience, and then I was privileged to get introduced to clinical research with my friend's referral. So I made a career shift into clinical research about little more than 2 years ago. So
That's a
I
nice
made a
friend.
career transition.
What
I'm
did that
sorry?
friend? I said that's a nice friend. What did that friend tell you?
Oh, yeah. My friend was already in the industry and he recommended me I could be a good fit as a pharmacist. So I did try. I wanted to try something different too. So and I did try and I it was really good. I learned a lot. It was very different. It was very challenging actually because everything was so different. And although I did have a some transferable soft skills. Learning a new terms and technology was a little difficult in the beginning, to be
What
honest.
what was your first role in research?
Oh, so I initially started as a clinical trial associate, and then I did some monitoring too, and then I moved up to clinical trial manager. But since it was a biotech company, I was involved with a different role as well, such as, like you mentioned, pharmacovigilance. I was also helping out with some of the regulatory work and some business development side too. So I got to try out different role, which gave me idea which area I like the most. So it was a good experience.
Yeah, sponsor side's definitely interesting. I want to get more into the biotech, but when you said your first role was CTA, clinical trial administrator, but you were already a licensed pharmacist.
Mhm.
So did it ever come up in your interviews, hey, you're overqualified?
Yeah. True. I was a little bit hesitant in the beginning too, but then at the same time, I didn't have any clinical research experience. And to be honest, I still wanted to get more experience over the pay or the qualification. So I did still try. And the more I did, I felt like a lot of pharmacists can actually do this job, and there's so many options to go into, even in the industry too. So I wanted to actually um, spread the word out for a pharmacist who's interested in clinical research. Although in the beginning it may be challenging and different, but it's a very rewarding job, and I highly recommend them trying out. Mhm.
Yes, because I know because a lot of pharmacists, whether they're US licensed or international equivalent, doesn't really matter. A lot of pharmacists are messaging me like, hey, what can I do in research as a pharmacist? But with a lot of them, like this issue of being overqualified does come up in the job interviews.
Mm-hmm.
But I think like so what I'm hearing you say is it did come up in your interview as well, but you assured them that you're okay with a lesser salary initially, or did that never come up?
Uh, yeah, and also, it was more of for me trying. So yeah, for me at that time, it was okay to try out, but then I ended up working more, and it worked out okay after all. But then in the beginning, I could see that some pharmacists could have a problem, like problem, or like it could be a issue for some pharmacists because their pay is usually very high and compared to
Yeah.
the research side. So yeah,
At least in the beginning. I think that's the 2 to 3 years
yeah,
when you're new to any industry, and research is a different industry than regular pharmacist role in healthcare.
right.
It's a sub niche. 2 to 3 years until you can probably meet or exceed your previous salary for most pharmacists, I would say.
Hmm. I think so too. Yeah.
Why do you think so many pharmacists? I know I asked you this on the live stream, but a lot of people didn't watch that. So why do you think so many pharmacists are frustrated with their job and want to do other things?
Uh, I guess in a retail setting, I would say the job can be very repetitive. And also, when the economy is not that well, they don't get enough help. And it could be very busy sometime when there's a lot of customer. You get to do multiple things all at once. The quality of work can be lower, and their job satisfaction can be lower too. So that's what I'm thinking. But I guess it can, some people still love their job, and it depends, I guess.
Yeah. You were you on the retail side? As a,
Actually, I did most of my job was from long-term care. But I did have retail experience too, so I kind of know how busy it can get.
do you think there's a role in clinical research recruitment when it comes to pharmacists?
So yeah, I actually wanted to ask your thoughts about that too, because you're in the site level, and I'm
Yeah.
sure you're very involved with patient recruitment. But as a outpatient or independent retail pharmacy, I could see that there's a potential for them helping out or collaborating with the site for maybe patient recruitment for diverse patients. Any thoughts on that, or maybe I don't know how the pay would work out. Maybe they can get a referral fee. I'm not sure with the payment
Yeah.
because I don't
That's
have
the
a
tricky
site.
part. The tricky part's the referral fee because if you're at a big chain pharmacy, that's you're not really allowed like CVS, Walgreens.
I
And by the way, CVS has their own. I think both of them, CVS and Walgreens, both did clinical research. One of them stopped the research.
CVS closed. Yeah.
CVS closed the research, so Walgreens is still doing research.
Hmm.
They do it inside their clinics, but they only do those
Right.
observational study. They don't do like the real interventional study where you have to have like all these assessments and 4 hour visits. It's just quick in and out type of visits like nasal swab or
Hmm.
vaccine, those kind of
Right.
studies. Now, I've tried working with independent pharmacists in the
Oh,
past.
you did?
Yeah, small mom and pop. As a matter of fact, I know a few that own sites in the pharmacy. So
Mm.
they're doing what CVS and Walgreens is doing, but on a practical scale of a small site. And they're actually
Okay.
well suited to do it. Uh,
Yeah.
the problem is still for them, they need a PI. So you need a
Hmm.
doctor to come do the PI work, an MD or a DO, because for the
Hmm.
most part, they won't allow pharmacists to do PI as industry sponsored trial. For some
Hmm.
reason, they won't allow it. It needs to be MD or DO because they want
Right.
like the actual clinical care,
Yeah.
and from what I understand, pharmacists don't actually do clinical care. They're just clinical support,
Hmm. Right. Yeah.
pharmacology, and those kind of things, making sure there's no interactions and all the stuff you
Hmm.
guys do well. I've tried also to advertise on independent pharmacies bag, like the bag, which has worked.
Oh.
Um, the problem is, you're right, it's the referral, like what's appropriate, what's enough to get the pharmacist interested. They certainly have the database, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now, maybe you can answer this. Is the pharmacist allowed, if I bring, let's say I find an independent pharmacist and I go to them and I say, hey, you know what? I have this study. This is what I need. Chances are you're not going to have like lab results, but you're going to have a medication list, right? So
Mm-hmm.
I'll ignore the lab results. I'll just go to diagnosis and medications. Like, these are the patients I need in your database. Anyone that qualifies, let me know. Are they allowed to actually give me that info, or they would have to call the patient themselves and say, hey, we have
Okay.
this
I
opportunity?
see. For that, I will have to look into more for the law part, but I'm thinking because of the HIPAA issue, I think it needs to be checked with the patient first to
Yeah,
release any information. But I see that they could um they are very qualified to review any
yeah.
medication or for pre-qualification or inclusion exclusion criteria. So I believe, yeah,
Even the
once.
pharmacy tech
Mhm.
would be good for this.
Oh yeah, 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 sure. Yeah. They
And
could
that's
even do
another
that.
role. The pharmacy tech would be great clinical research coordinators.
I think so. Yeah, I was actually thinking about that too. Mm-hmm.
That's why I think that these small independent pharmacists, the ones that still exist, I mean, they,
Mm-hmm.
it's not that common, but they're out there in the communities.
Mm-hmm.
They would make really good research sites. And
Yeah.
if Walgreens is still doing it, it means it's
Mm-hmm.
obviously opportunity. So
Yeah.
I've always wanted to encourage more pharmacists,
Mm-hmm.
especially the independently owned and
Mm-hmm.
operated pharmacies, to do
Yeah.
clinical research, just
So
like the
yeah.
urgent cares do. The urgent cares do this, and they do a good job.
Oh, yeah, the little clinic also with the doctor. I
It's
think
a
it
very
will
similar setting, urgent care pharmacy,
die.
same kind of
Yeah,
thing, you know.
makes sense. But yeah, I was actually gonna encourage other pharmacists myself, like promote the awareness that they have this option other than only going into sponsor side. There's something else to be available to try out, especially for
Yeah,
independent pharmacy. Yeah.
independent
Mm-hmm.
pharmacy, the ones that are out there, they already understand because they're entrepreneur, right?
Mm-hmm.
So they already understand how to run a business. They
Mm-hmm.
have the pharmacy techs there. They can
Mm-hmm.
just hire another farm tech. They make very good coordinators.
Right.
And then just probably have a few exam rooms in the back, or figure out a way to make it work, or even rent like an off-site location.
Mm-hmm.
And so when a
Yeah.
patient comes into the store, you say, okay, we have a studies. Let them pre-screen you next door, and then next door you have another suites or something where you can actually pre-screen them. I think it's really interesting idea. It never
Mm-hmm.
worked for me as working with my pharmacist because of what you said. They're busy,
Mm-hmm.
and I was paying based on randomization. So I was paying like, hey, if we get a randomization, we'll get a, depending on the study, $600 to $1,200 fee for the pharmacy.
Mm-hmm.
And I called it like a pre-screening fee because they would help us pre-screen, but then they would have to qualify, or else I'm, as a site owner, losing money on screen fill.
Oh, got
So the
it.
problem was always this disconnect between the work they have to do up front and getting paid. But I think if they owned it themselves, they would be more incentivized to do it.
I see. Yeah, I think it's a good idea. I just wanted to confirm, like, as a site expert yourself, I wanted to check if there's something that they can be done. But yeah, I think it's just such a
Definitely can
great
be done.
idea for
And if
the
it's cheap
defense.
enough, and I would do it again. There's no independent pharmacies near me now. It's all big chain,
Mm,
Walgreens, Walmart.
mhm,
But if there were a big, like a small mom and pop near me, pharmacist, I would, if it was cheap enough, I would advertise on their bag, because I think
mhm,
you could get volume. The majority will screen fail. Matter of fact, the majority you will not even screen. Um, so it's a lot of work to get those few patients to randomize, like from a high volume, like a bag. but I think if it's cheap enough, it's worth it. So, and with a
Yeah.
lot of these independent, you can find a good deal with them.
Mm,
That's my
yeah, I
thoughts on
think
that.
that's a very good idea. Thanks
It's
for
bad, but
sharing that.
there's not enough independent pharmacists out. Not good for that, or it's just too competitive with it.
Yeah, I think a lot of the reimbursement, wise, dispensing is not only dispensing will not make enough profit, but maybe they will have to try vaccination or any other clinic, for example. Like you said, clinical trial can be additional income source if somebody's interested, but they gotta find other alternative ways to build the profit. Otherwise, it'll be hard, I think.
If
Hmm.
you're a pharmacist that owns a pharmacy, text me 949-415-6256. We can help you start a site. I know it worked. We've had
I
clients
know,
before.
really.
We've had clients before that did it successfully. So it
Oh,
works.
yeah?
It works. Yeah. There's just not
Okay.
enough. There's not enough. But
Ah,
the ones that are out there, they make an impact on their community, and
mm-hmm.
that's enough for that community. I'll tell you
Right,
that.
right.
But back to
I will also promote that. I know your YouTube channel has a lot of good information on patient recruitment and site opening, so definitely
thank
they
you,
should
thank you.
contact you.
So you did CTA and then CRA for a biotech, right? For one
Oh
month.
yeah, initially I did some monitoring, but then I did mostly a management role later on. So I helped out with the PM, project manager, but vendor management. I would help out with the paperwork,
Wow.
with a lot of regulatory stuff. So
So you've
yeah,
done everything really,
a little bit of everything.
and
Yeah.
all at the sponsor level, right? All at the
Oh
small
yeah, at the sponsor
biotech.
level. Right.
And now you're a CTM, clinical trial manager.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So you're probably getting bombarded with sites wanting to do studies. Like, hey, Sandy, give me your study. Give me your
Oh,
next study. Let me participate. Or do you not hear from sites?
actually, our studies didn't really get that much site interaction. I mean, not with me, but with my CRA. Other CRA did a lot of site interaction.
Hmm.
I did contact a lot of vendors mostly.
Ah, you did vendor. So you were the one in charge of like, hey, this is a potentially good CRO.
Oh yeah, yeah. We had our own CRO too sometimes. So we would talk to the CRO whether they follow their timeline, whether they do meet their project deadline and stuff. So mhm.
Wow. And I see on the indication, so osteoarthritis is one of the leading indications for you guys.
Oh, we had a lot of oncology studies
Uh,
and some pain medication and some rare disease like IPF in interpulmonary fibrosis.
okay, okay. So you were involved with all of these programs?
Actually, little bit of everything. I did a little bit of PMS study in pain management, and I did phase 1 and 2 in oncology.
Wow. So as a CTM working directly for a biotech, I imagine it could be very stressful. Can you kind of walk us through some of that job
Oh,
responsibility?
yeah. Uh, yeah, it could be. When everything comes all at once, when the deadline um, is coming. Also, because it's a small biotech, I not only I did um, one thing, there's another thing from other department that I have to take care of, such as, for example, regulatory. I have to make sure their deadline is on time.
So
So
you did
sometimes it could
everything.
get
You're a
very busy.
generalist. You're a real generalist.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. It was a good experience. I got to try out different things and I realized, oh, this part I'm good at, but this part I do need more skills and that's a learning stage for me.
What are you good at, and what do you still need to develop your skill set more?
Oh, okay. So because I had little bit of experience on different areas, I think I could be a good management role, like where I need to communicate with different departments. So I'm good with communicating with my colleagues in different departments, make sure they understand what they have to do. So I guess CTM was a good start for me. Project manager can be a good career. I guess with my strength,
I
but
think
I
you're
do
in a
need more skills, definitely.
well, of
Mm-hmm.
course, but you're young. I mean, you have so much time to develop your skills. You know, the where I think you're in such a unique position, and I think you
Mm-hmm.
could be an inspiration to more pharmacists out there because what you're doing working for a early stage biotech, even when it becomes late stage, the fact that you like one day they say, "Hey Sandy, we need help doing this regulatory affairs. Now we need help with pharmacovigilance. Now we need help with maybe site selection or vendor procurement. Now we need help maybe writing the protocol." I don't know if did you get
Oh
into
yeah, I did
this.
a little bit of that too.
You did so much already in like a not even 3 years, right? So
Mm-hmm.
just let's imagine another 3 years of the same. Now you have literally you can run, I don't know about the entire thing, but the majority of biotech operations, at least from a development perspective, you can manage the whole thing. Those people that have that skill set, like a generalist, are so rare,
Mm-hmm.
and you're always going to be in demand. People like you, I know I've worked with people like you who have been doing this for 50 years, not just three.
Oh wow.
I mean, their phone is constantly ringing. Like, they're consultants, they
Wow.
started their own consulting agencies, and that because no one has all that info. Like, it's so good. If let's say I'm a entrepreneur and I discover, I find a molecule that I want to develop. Instead of calling 30 people to get one thing done, like you do this, you do that, I call Sandy. She can do like 20 of it. And if she doesn't know, she at least knows someone else who can, right? So
Mhm.
you're in this unique place that I think so many other pharmacists could get to, and there's actually a need for it. Do you see that developing further? Like, do you see a need for this, first of all? Because, like, you just work for one biotech, right? There's thousands out there. Not everyone has a Sandy. Like, some of them need somebody like you.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I'll be open to learn more, of course. I'm always curious to learn more. And yeah, I just because of my unique background with outpatient and long-term care and this clinical trial, clinical research experience, I'm trying to see what like you said, I'm trying to bring more pharmacists, be an advocate. And while I continue to build on my skills in the clinical trials, that what I want to do for now. But if there's more opportunity, I'm happy to learn, of course.
Here's why I think the majority don't do it. Don't do what you did. Okay. I
Mm,
think it was a few months ago, another pharmacist texted me and they had a lot of student debt, but they were older. They're still young, but they were older. They were in their mid 40s and they had kids.
mhm,
So they had a stable job with a big chain pharmacy, but they text me, "Hey, I'm really stressed out. I'm making like I think it was 150,000 a year. Can I make this same money in research?" And I said, "Yes, you can, but not right away."
mm,
And I think
ah,
that last part is what prevents so many people from getting in, maybe a lot less than 150K, but in 2 years, 3 years, if you really become generalist like Sandy, that's very easy to replicate and then surpass. Like you're
mm,
still in the beginning, but that's surpassable by most if you do the right networking, connect with the right people,
mhm,
develop your skill set. That's like 150 will be nothing compared to what you can make.
Mm.
But that initial
Oh
sacrifice when you
yeah,
already have student loans and you have a
yeah,
family, it's almost impossible. It's almost like a golden handcuff.
yeah. It could be hard. A
Yeah.
lot of people, yeah, I could see that.
I
So
don't
much
know if there's
respect.
a way
Mhm.
around that. I don't know if you think there's any solutions for getting over that initial.
I would say if they're really interested in clinical research, I would have them actually, like you said earlier, they could still get into research by helping out with patient recruitment, like on the side, with their outpatient or chain work. They could still be part of the research by doing that, or like you said, they could still help out with the doctor's referral. They could help out with side effect management, like so much to do, just by I guess part time in addition to their work. They could see if they really enjoy it in the beginning. Not just concentrated on the money, but would they actually they like it or not? They could at least try it for a little bit, and if they really like it, they could still make money on this on their initial job, but they could also get some experience. I think that's how they can start if they're mid-career, like you mentioned. But otherwise, like if they're a student or right out of pharmacy school, they could, like you said, you have so many options you mentioned in your YouTube too, but they could still do that on this while they're in school. I think the earlier they start, I think it would be a good chance for them to it would be part of the research.
I think that's really good advice, actually. Like starting out, if you're mid-career, starting
Hmm.
out maybe side gigs. You know,
Hmm.
patient recruitment might be
Hmm.
the easiest, most practical thing, but it's also maybe not enough compensation.
Right.
I I would want to lean towards like medical writing, maybe, or do you think?
Oh yeah, yeah, that was a good one. Hmm.
Yeah. Or what about like publishing? Like, how do you get into medical writing, you think? Just have to find a company that needs your scientific expertise, or
Usually, yeah, medical writing, once you have a science background and you do have writing skills, I think that's pretty, it's pretty, I don't think it's too hard to get in initially. A
and but
time.
they are looking for part-time. Like,
Oh,
either they
really?
don't have a lot of money. Yeah, a lot of these biotechs, especially for something like medical writer,
Uh-huh.
they may not want to pay someone like full-time salary. That might
Right.
be perfect for them to
Oh,
find a
yeah.
contractor. And then now you're a contract medical writer.
Mm-hmm.
Then they need your help for something else, maybe pharmacovigilance,
Right.
medical monitor. I mean, maybe that's the way to get
Medical
slowly get
monitors.
into
Mm-hmm.
research.
Yes.
I think.
Yes. I think so too. And even in the sponsor side, they do have a medical communication. They have marketing. They have so many options in the sponsor side too. If they really want to try out different career path,
Like on the
they can
sale,
look
you're
at.
right. Medical liaison, right? The
Yeah, medical
yeah.
liaison is very competitive, I think, among pharmacists already.
Oh,
But they have other entry point like um, medical communication. They could try out with CRO, CMO. What else? Yeah, like CRA. It's not really entry, but they could still take your CRA Academy and go and do
they
the
can.
CRA role.
They can. But even CRA, like 150K for a pharmacist to like to be a CRA and make that, it's still like a
Yeah, the
senior
salary.
CRA,
Mhm.
right? That's not a like beginning junior CRA.
Yeah.
That's the
So
problem.
yeah. Hmm. But that little
But
time of that experience, I think, lead to more
I
potential, like you
know. I
mentioned.
tell them, but then they say, "Yeah, I know, but I can't. I have three kids and student loans, and I
Oh.
live in Orange County, super expensive. Like everything's
Hmm.
working against that."
Yeah, I understand. That's a big part
It's a
too.
huge part. Plus the health benefits they get.
Oh
So
yeah, yeah.
it's so much working against you. But if you, there's always ways. You know, if it was so easy, everyone would have done it already.
Hmm. That's
So the
true.
fact that it's hard can be your competitive advantage.
Mm,
I don't have
true.
anything else to say, but that's it.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. I know. It's hard. A lot of time there's stuff in the that situation like you mentioned, and it's hard. I mean, scared to try new things once you're in that zone, you know. So I totally understand. But
Yeah.
yeah,
But
but if they
hey,
really want to try out new things, they don't like their jobs and they want to try out. I think it's a good idea, like you mentioned, to look into it more while they're doing their job.
I absolutely agree. I was almost a pharmacy student.
Mm.
Undergrad, I was molecular cellular bio, but I saw that was your major also.
Oh
Molecular
yeah.
cellular bio, yeah. But I couldn't get into pharmacy school, and then I got into
Mm.
research by accident.
Oh, by accident.
It
Okay.
was pharmacy school first, then medical school,
Mm-hmm.
and then I tried osteopathy. None of them
Oh
accepted.
wow.
My
Oh,
grades were
look
not
where
that
you're
good.
now.
My
Entrepreneur.
my grades were just not good, but maybe it was a blessing
Mm.
in disguise at the
Oh
end of the
yeah.
day. You know, that's what I
It
think.
is.
But I think I get so excited about this topic because I know there's so many pharmacists that work hard, but they are overworked, underpaid, believe it or not.
Yeah.
And they don't see research. Maybe the lucky ones see research like you. I would consider you like one of the lucky ones. You had a
Mm.
friend who suggested you do this, and boom, now you're just starting your new career in research, but you're starting at the sponsor level. And like I said, there's only a handful of people like you. As long as you keep developing your skill set, you can go really far with this career. So
Oh,
good
okay.
luck. Do you everybody go connect with Sandy right now? Her LinkedIn is underneath this video. And she's out there networking with people. I see her on the live streams, commenting, asking good questions. She's very interested in the patient recruitment aspect. So there's a lot we can discuss too in the future. Sandy, are you coming to Save Our Sites SOS conference?
Oh, actually, I did buy your ticket, so I'll be
Ah,
there.
okay.
I'm excited to network there, meet all of you.
I'm excited to meet you too. So you're in Korea right now, but where do you live? Do you live in California or do you live
Oh, yeah, in California. I'm planning to go back end of this year or early next year, January.
gotcha. Sandy, everybody go
Mhm.
connect. She's coming to SOS. So connect with
Oh,
her.
yeah.
And thank you so much, Sandy, for coming on. I really appreciate it.
Oh, yeah. Thank you to you too. Thank you for having me today and your time and all of your insights today.
We'll do it again. Everybody, like, subscribe, comment, share. Go follow Sandy right now. Bye bye.